What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I am not in the usual studio today, but that does not mean there's not work to be done and guests to be interviewed, especially with the month we are having right now, the CarnEVil Takeover right here on the Mindless Horror Podcast. And my next guest, someone you guys should know very well. You might have seen him on rollerblades, causing chaos in CarnEVil this past season. Please welcome my guest, Nate. Nate, how are you? And thank you for the time today, man.
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited.
Hey, as you should be, man. Because you know what, like for starters, I gotta say, man, this has to be easily like one of the best seasons of CarnEVil that we've had out there this season, and you were a huge part of contributing to that. Talk to me about your
Yeah.
experience this year, a little bit about CarnEVil, just a little rundown of who you were in CarnEVil and your contribution, amazing contribution to CarnEVil.
Yeah. Okay, so CarnEVil definitely it had its change compared to last year. Love the color scheme. The black just brings out more than like the brown and tan. Um, what was I gonna say? Cast was amazing. I loved everyone, got to meet everyone. They all had their own special things. And honestly, like my favorite person to watch sometimes freaked me out all the time was I think the name was James. James, yeah. Their clown name was Flex. So I would just like skate by, but then I just see him bending out of nowhere, and I'm like, ow. Like he was, I don't know what, like where his legs and his arms were, he was all bent. Like a pretzel, a human pretzel.
Oh, dude.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, talk about. I want to touch on that real quick. Talk about just walking through CarnEVil at the most randomest times. Like, no matter what time of the night you came through, I think you were gonna experience something that was out of the ordinary for the normal human, right?
yeah, it was like I would even say that I would hear guests like when I'm zooming by, just like, holy crap, he's on skates. What? Like, why? How? I saw someone sent me an Instagram story and just like I'm skating by like the gas pumps area in front of accelerator entrance across the games, and they just put like they're zoomed in on me and they're just like hello, just all confused.
Oh man,
Like
how
this
cool
is
was that
new.
this year? You probably got a lot of those videos this year, especially across social media. Like I think I saw a few out there. I know my girlfriend was a huge fan of what you could do on the sky. I think the first night her eyes just brightened as like she could not believe this year that they allowed someone on skates, and that was so cool. It was such a great surprise. Like how was that just seeing all those videos all season long? Because I know there was a lot.
Yeah, seeing those videos honestly like got me excited for more and more and more. um just like more scares, like honestly I know they wanted to switch Carnival up to be more of a like for show, less scary. It was kind of annoying for that part, I'm not gonna lie. But but I did. That's why when I would put my back, like my shirt would get like a bunch of drool and it'd just get dirty and they'd get mad at me. But I want back the gruesome Carnival. But yeah, that seeing those videos, it got me excited. And then I just tried figuring out different ways, like different things to do on my skates.
Oh my god, and
I
and
would say
there
the
was a
last
lot.
night,
There was a lot.
yeah, I would say the last night when it rained, that's when they told me I couldn't skate, but they didn't tell me I couldn't bring out my skates. So I just got creative with it. Became my children, they became dogs. They were telephones. It was a Christmas present. We were singing the Grinch song around La Loopsy. But yeah, it was definitely fun.
Mhm. I think that a lot of people would say this was probably one of their favorite scare zones this season, and the audience, the people, the guests that would come every single night just to sit there and watch you guys all night prove that. I mean, I don't think I think as the
Yeah.
season went on, those planners became eventually non-existent to the point where you couldn't even sit on them anymore.
People,
I
yeah,
mean, that that
always.
that's so cool to me. Like, and then you got people taking pictures, you got people drawing, you got people doing all these different types of art forms. Like, I mean, you probably had your regulars every week you saw, right?
Yeah, every time. But then
Yeah.
there were some crazy regulars that got a little too attached. We had to kick this one girl out because of her obsession with my character
Oh
was getting
wow.
out of hand. Yeah.
Little stalker status, maybe.
Yep.
Oh man. Oh God.
She was asking the people sitting at the planners for my social medias.
Oh my God.
Yeah. She was
Okay.
asking other clowns. She was asking others. It was yeah.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was
By the
last
way,
weekend.
I want anyone to know I'm not a stalker. I do my job. I have to find the
Yeah.
guest in order to interview
No,
the guest.
he's
So
fine. It's all good. It's all good. He's chill.
oh,
Don't
good.
worry.
I my intentions are good. I just want an interview. I want people to know people's stories. That's all. Um,
No.
that's insane, man. I mean, I've heard of some cases of stalkers in the past, but that is insane to try to go to the extent of trying to figure out all your social medias and stuff. Um, Man,
Mm-hmm.
talk to me. I mean, you had a lot of people in this zone to vibe with, and I imagine with you, because I mean, you could zoom up and down the midway like 10 times within five
Yes.
minutes if you wanted to. Like, talk to me how that was like for you, kind of having those like really quick interactions with literally everybody within 10 minutes if you wanted to.
Yeah, no, honestly, even less. Just a quick hi, stop, like make a little joke or something, and then zoom off. Like before before we would open, like they would let us out onto the street, and I would just zoom back and forth like multiple times, get my body warmed up. Like it was quick. Um, what I would say, like those quick interactions, they were fun. I got to see more guests, and then that's one of the things they would always tell us, like pace yourself, pace yourself, pace yourself. I can't pace myself. I'm going too fast. um, I did have I would have my restrictions, of course, when it was too crowded. With 20, like usually around 20,000 guests, they would tell me to like, oh, you got to cut the skates. Like that pissed me off. I was like, I know I can do it, but then again, I was 17, and so they told me they're like, now that you'll be 18, if you do it next year, we'll be like more lenient on you. So or lenient's the word, right? Yeah. Like they'll be more easy on me, like if it with crowding.
Right.
So yeah, there's that. And then what's it called? I do before we open, I do want to like skate around the whole park.
So around the
just
world real
just
quick, huh?
zoom. I yep. Obviously not in front of like the park where they can see me, but just like visit
Yeah.
each little section of a zone.
Yeah,
But
especially like
I'd
when
probably
you
get in
because
big
like
trouble for that.
there's that little grace period where like before the park opens and we're all waiting at rope drop where all the sound effects and
Yeah.
everything are on, you know? So it's like and there is a path you can do where no one could see you and get away with it and
Yeah.
it still be it'd be but it would be I was just thinking in my head, it would be kind of funny if like I'm standing down and looking towards Fog Alley and out of the blue I just see you by the
You
barn.
just see us.
Like, I would die. I would be it
That
would
would
be
be
so
so funny.
hilarious in my opinion. I think it would be so freaking funny. I know that
Just
would
a
be a viral
quick
moment for sure.
and then zoom.
Yeah, it'd be hilarious, dude. Like, I mean, not to give you any ideas, but, hey, just give me a heads up if you decide to do it. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That'd be
But no,
so funny
I
though.
think it would be so hilarious. That'd be so cool though. I mean, just to kind of get that little around, and you could probably get around the park within like 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Of how fast you go. I mean, and that was another
Yeah.
thing I was very surprised to see is how well you had the control of when to go, when to
Yeah.
stop, how to cut through people. Like, and I know at times there were challenges that were approaching that. Because you got your floods of people that come through every now and then. What were some of
Yeah.
the things that you had to kind of challenge yourself to keep up with the pace to kind of keep it safe for you and the guests like and of course your fellow employees like what did you have to do to
Hmm.
kind of get that in your head and get that down.
Honestly, I think just from skating so much. I've been skating for well, I like to say skating for 2 years, but like I've been on wheels for like 13 years now.
Okay.
So I've been doing it for so long. The main thing was that hockey stop, whereas like when I would just plow in front of people, that's where I got
Oh
the
yeah.
name Toe Jam for my character. Yeah. Because I'm a jam toes. And so yeah, so I got that. And just being more visually aware, I noticed. And then also kid sessions at the skating rink, menaces. Those kids will cut you off left, right. Last night, out of nowhere, thankfully, I was looking like more lower because if I was looking straight ahead like normal, this kid came from my right side, squatting, and then stops right in front of me. the thing is I had my slippery wheels on and I had to just slide like instant stop. And I'm like, ooh. So yeah, definitely those
Menaces,
kid
man.
sessions will help. Yep.
Man, yeah. I
So that's how
mean,
I got that. And then just more
I've
visually
just
aware.
I go down to the rink sometimes where they go and slide right there, Chapman Sports
Yeah.
Park, and every now and then, certain days I would go, we would see them inside there, roller skating and stuff, and I would see how fast they would
The
go and
derby
how,
skaters, yeah.
yeah, they were just intense and they were in rhythm and stuff. I was like, man, I'd be the one person to mess up that entire rhythm. I could see me falling. I could see me, but like I guess once you get the rhythm down and you kind of know it more. I mean, and it goes to show with what you did this year with the roller skates, it was incredible. I think it was one of,
Yeah.
if not the coolest character I've seen in the past years, in a while since I've been
Thank
going to Knott's Scary Farm. I was so impressed. Me and my girlfriend, we couldn't praise it enough. And I even remember the nights I would ask you like, "Where's your roller skates at, dude?" Like you're like, "I had to take them off," and or so,
They
just
told me to
I
take
could
them
just
off.
tell how bummed you were about that,
Yeah.
man.
Definitely. It was a little upsetting. I all because I honestly I felt more unsafe without my skates. Just
Okay.
because someone I can feel like someone would follow me more, or being able to I'm able to dodge much more. Like if someone were to swing, I did dodge a swing once with my skates. I was able to like push off away, and then yeah, I got mad at that. And just a lot of following. I noticed on my skates, no one could follow me unless I was going slow this one time. It crop dusted someone on purpose.
Hey,
so
hey, it's okay.
so
We'll brush it off.
I was going. Yeah. Yeah. I was just going and then he was just like mocking the way I was walking on my skates and I'm like, don't do that. And I went around, I went back in front of him to bait him because I'm like, I felt something brewing. And so I just baited him to follow me again. He did it, but he was crouched. And so he was right in the line of fire, shot it left. So yeah,
Man,
I he took the bait.
that I mean, I think you guys do that really well in CarnEVIL too, especially because it doesn't help that about 75% of people that come to haunts are scared of clowns. And it just
Yeah.
makes that so much, better in my opinion, because it's like, okay, they're already scared to be in this zone. What is this person going to do to further that? And I saw a ton of that this year. I
Mhm.
saw you do a ton of that this year, both on and off the skates, mostly on the skates. There was even times you got me a few times because I'm just walking and then you zoom by me and I'm like, what the hell is that? And those are some of the best scares because
No
it feels
running
like,
from me.
no, yeah, there you go. It's like you can't run from him. Like even if you sprint, he's gonna catch up. And I bet there was a
Half
lot of
the energy,
moments.
that's all.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah,
Since
man.
it was so quick, I would just like look around if my lead was seeing if I'm gonna chase, and then boom, right after them.
Next year we're gonna light some little fireworks to them so he can take off even further and faster.
For real. I do want to get
I
lights for them. I
oh
Yeah,
get the
just
lights.
light it
That'd
up
be
and
sick.
then put some like patches, like some wings on the side. I don't know, just like flying. More details for sure.
Oh
That's what
man,
I'm gonna work on next
and
year.
it's
The
those little
costume.
details me and my girlfriend will always look at, like especially as the season goes on and we don't notice it in the beginning, but then we go every single weekend. It's like, oh, look at that. Didn't notice that, and I won't
Yeah.
notice it till like the last weekend, but at least I noticed it. I'm like, hey, I made it.
Yeah.
um, so talk to me about your start and your love for haunt and Halloween. When did you get into it? When was like the first time you came to a haunt or watched a like something horror related? And when did you know this is what you wanted to be a part of?
Since okay, it's gonna be corny. Since I was a little kid, I'm just barely 18. Like elementary school, I always wanted to go to Scary Farm. I would always watch videos of like the opening ceremonies, and just like, oh my God, I want to go, I want to go, I want to go. And 2018 was supposed to be the year I was going to go. But my phone had died that day. I was going to get dropped off, but my phone had died. So I couldn't contact any, like my aunt to get me in because she had my ticket. And it was really crowded. I'm just like, I'm not going to enjoy it. And I was upset because like I cried home because I didn't go. So then, but I did watch like I would start getting into horror movies. My favorite has to be It. I like the newer It. I don't know
Okay,
why. It's just clowns, clowns, clowns. And so
respected.
yeah, the first time I visited Haunt was 22. That was
Okay.
I went twice that year, Halloween and opening night. So first and last day of 22. And so I fell in love with it. But also during middle school, I met this girl named Alina. She was in Going 20s this year. She's one of the cigar girls. She was the one that like made me fall in love with Haunt again. Like she reminded me about it. Like because she worked a home haunt over in the Orange County area. And so I went to it and I saw her and I'm like, oh my God, Alina. And yeah, so she told me that next year she was working Scary Farm. We connected again and we're amazing friends now. And so with her, she definitely brought back the love for Haunt for me. And yeah.
Um, I mean, and you talk about you only being 18, bro. You're just getting started. Like you have such
Yeah.
a long way to go. Like that you can still, and you're already on like card. So when did you officially? Was this your first year?
This is my first ever year of like doing any scaring at
Wow.
all. Yeah.
Congratulations, by the way. Those
Thank
stories,
you.
they're very few come, but to get streets on nothing wrong with being a maze or anything. I think personally I fit better
No.
in a maze than I would on a scare zone. Because I can work a room pretty well. Uh but to get a scare zone on, your first year, man, that's something that a lot of people strive to do. But they only pick the select few that they think are ready to do it, and
Yeah.
man, that's incredible. First year, and not to mention, you got to go on skates on your first year too. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
how cool is that,
Skates was the
man?
best.
How cool is that, dude?
The
So
thing is,
first year in,
I
that's
didn't,
awesome.
yeah, I didn't think they were gonna let me do skates because, well, I know last year in 20, we're in 24, right? Yeah, 23. They tried getting a roller skater, but she couldn't pass like the test they wanted.
Mm.
So they had to pull her off. And my friend Alina, which she was in Going 20s that year, told me like, oh, they want a roller skating clown. Like, Nate, that is for you. You better pitch it. So me and her got together. We came up ideas like a background story and like how the clown, like Toe Jam came to be. That background story I use, I don't use it anymore. That the character pitch, it was away. Um, yeah, I think my character just switched up as soon as preview night happened. Like I passed the wooden wall and boom, I instead changed into a concussed like skater. Yeah.
Oh man, I think that's such a brilliant idea, especially because when you go on the line of having a concussed skater, it's like, okay, this skater still knows the basics of skating, but now they're concussed. So how much do they know, and am I safe around them?
Yeah.
That's what gets people questioning. Um,
That was my favorite thing.
oh, dude, I think it's great because I remember, and I got a couple good clips of you this year, but I just remember watching you freaking go down, running down towards us, and then kind of like zooming past us and just kind of saying the most absurd. And it makes more sense now because I'm like, oh, he's concussed, so that makes a lot more sense as to why
Yeah.
he's saying the things that he's saying. Like that's great, dude. I mean, yeah, that I so like. Was that something that you kind of were improvising as the season went on to like create this kind of whole new character from the ground up all over again?
Yeah, I literally started it from the beginning. At first, I wanted like my clown to be more of a camera, like he wants the spotlight. I wanted him
Mm.
to be aggressive, mean, rude, and I don't know why I just didn't stick to it as soon as we started on preview night. And so it just went away and I started this concussed character from the beginning. And yeah. One of my things was like, oh, I can't stop. I can't stop.
Dude, and I have to give a big shout out to whoever your makeup artist was this
Oh
season.
my God, I love her. Dude,
If you
she
want to shout her out,
amazing.
her name, everything, because
Paola. Paola
yeah,
was amazing.
great makeup this
We
year.
had
I mean that I think a lot of people. So I'm fortunate enough to get to meet a lot of you guys in the industry, and just kind of meet everyone in the community and stuff. And and this is why I bring this up, is because a lot of the times when I meet you, you guys are usually in a character, in a costume, in makeup, right? But then
Yeah.
when I meet you out in, public, when we're kind of just regular human beings as we are, and I meet you guys, sometimes people will come say hi to me and I won't remember who they are. Only because like I'm so used to only seeing you in costume and makeup that I'm just like,
In costume and makeup.
and then when they start explaining to me, I'm like, oh, that's right, sorry. Like every time I talk to you,
Oh,
you're
that's
in
who you
this
are.
character, So it's
Yeah.
like I don't mean to be like rude or like if anyone ever
No, yeah,
thought that
yeah,
of me,
yeah.
but it's like that's just how I am. So the reason why I bring that up is because these makeup artists do a great job of literally
Yeah.
making you a different character, making you a whole different person, monster, whatever it is, creature. Like
Mm-hmm.
you don't know who that person is underneath until they want you to see who they are underneath. And it's like, it is incredible to see day in, day out during haunt season what these makeup artists can do. And if they do it year round, then year round too. But you were just talking
Yep.
before we went on the air. I mean, you yourself are, you got an air compressor going now and you're trying stuff on yourself too. And you're getting
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows you how interesting and interested people are into that field. And big shout out to the makeup artists
Yeah.
every single year. They kill that they do a great job.
They do. Because we had very much like a time issue during preview night. Like they said I was supposed to come in at like around 5:40. Nope, they said 4:40. I'm like, oh. So my makeup artist is like, oh, I can't. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to go talk to the other people. So she did my makeup, was not what we had before. I'll try to pull up a picture. But it's not what we did. Then we had day one makeup, which was the first spiral. And she got that from she asked for like the background of my character, and I was like, oh yeah, he crashed, he got concussed, and so he's been like very loopy, dizzy, and so that's where she got the spiral from. And so, yep. And then I've been told like so many people are like, you do not look like your face just changes so much. Where's the
And that's another reason why I bring it up because, like I said, I see you in makeup. One thing, I'm talking to you in person. It's like a whole different thing. Like, yeah, it's
that's
like
preview nights.
I do. I wait, was I there? No, I wasn't there this year for preview night.
Preview night was I think the 17th. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get to
Yeah.
go to this year's, but I was there day one, and I think I'm used to seeing you. You mostly had the spiral most of the season, though, didn't you?
Yes. They
Yeah.
told they told my makeup artist so like no scary clowns. They had a specific talk to her, she said, where like they had to change my makeup up because it was like too scary, I guess. Which I was like, what? I was freaking out. I'm like, there's no way. And then so we had a day two. There's very select few pictures that people got of that makeup. And then they told her, no, go back to the spiral. So then that's how the spiral stuck.
You're in CarnEVil. It's a freaking scare zone. Scare is in the word scare
Scare.
zone.
Yeah.
Uh, Four Knots Scary Farm, the OG haunt that started all of this haunt shit, and they're telling you you're too scary. That is just
Mm-hmm.
that's interesting to me. I think, in my opinion, at least as far as CarnEVil 2024 goes, it
Yeah.
was a huge breath of fresh air to see a very simple, very easy, very gimmicky reboot that was much needed for that
Mm-hmm.
zone. I think for the last couple of years prior to this year, a little bit, you saw it a little bit last year, but mostly this year,
Mm-hmm.
you started seeing new faces come in, you started seeing new characters come in, and you started seeing, as the years of those people staying on and coming back and all that, you started seeing those characters evolve. And then this year, they really tapped into that very 50s like circus vibe, and they gave everyone kind of more, okay, we want actual characters now. We want a
Yeah,
stuntman.
more personalities.
We want someone on the rollerblades. We want someone, a referee. We want a freaking luchador. Like all these characters,
Yeah.
and it was different. It was a different CarnEVil compared to what you're used to seeing when CarnEVil was just kind of like everyone kind of wore the same colors, kind of looked very
Yeah.
similar outfits, but a little features here and there were different. This year, you can really tell who was different, who stood
Tell
out,
who was who.
who was who. Yeah, and I don't think I've ever been able to do that
Oh,
prior to CarnEVil
did
unless I
it?
actually take the time to know somebody. But I think you guys accomplished it this year. What you guys all came up with,
No.
costume and character wise this year, it's second to none. I think it's one of the most biggest improvements I've seen as far as scare zones go. That and Goring 20s and Forsaken, I think, are the three right now that I've seen improve the most over the last couple of years and in the best ways
Yeah.
possible. So, yeah, man, I mean, it's great to see that not only were you a part of that, but the wide variety of talent that you had this year for that group. I mean, you had a cheerleader. I mean, you had all these. I was watching all you guys. If
Yeah.
anyone knows me, my smoking section, I was back and forth. So I saw you guys all the time, and I would compliment, say hi, praise you guys all the time. But yeah, it was just and that was another reason why we got to see everybody because we got to sit right there and just see everyone walk in and out. So it was a really
Yeah.
solid year, man. I can't say more positive things about it.
Yeah. Honestly, just it was a fever dream. I wanted to happen again. I wanted to start up now. Like I need it again.
You know,
Definitely one of the most happiest I've ever been.
I know, man. And on the eve, as we're recording this, it is New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve.
So we're about to be in 2025, but you guys are already seeing this in 2025. So hello, future me. I hope we're doing all right. Uh, I think that, I mean, there was just so much with you this character. Is there anything for next season that you want to try to evolve or try to bring? I mean, you talked about upgrading the rollerblades a little bit. Is there anything costume
Yeah.
wise that you kind of want to upgrade to make more you, to make more of the character or anything?
Costume, I definitely want to change an insane amount. I might keep the shorts, but the majority of it was very I felt it needed a lot of details, so I might change the costume up. I've even thought about changing the character completely almost with like a Subway Surfers theme type,
Oh,
but
okay.
like spray painting, but I'm just like I don't know if I should. I'll probably do like, oh, he got into arts and crafts and like loved using spray paint. Something like that maybe. But I definitely do want to change up the costume a good amount. Character, I'm debating on keeping him at the same age his mind is at after the concussion, or if like he's like just like learning. I probably might just keep him at the same age, just because it's so fun and dumb. Like I will say, my makeup was more one of the more scarier ones. It did freak people out, so that's what made it more funny for me because my character was just like he was just silly little guy over there. He
Silly
meant
little
no
guy that
harm.
you made a household name, man. I'm telling you. I think and that
Thank
was
you.
what I thought was cool about CarnEVIL this year was like, going back to like, you look at 2023, 2022, you knew who was the famous characters because those specific characters were on across all social
They
media.
were on Billboard, yeah, on
Yeah,
everything,
they were
yeah.
on everything, and it's like, okay, you kind of know those standout characters. I feel like everyone this year was a standout character.
Everyone this year, everyone.
Yeah,
I can't
everyone.
name anybody that wasn't a standout. Everyone was just perfect.
Yeah,
And they
and
fit their roles perfectly too. I loved it. They did so great.
100%, 100%, and you're gonna see this one in about I think at the end of the month. But Christine, as the cheerleader this year, was incredible. That was
Amazing.
such a transformation from when I first seen her in CarnEVil back in 21, or no, I'm sorry, 22, to what I've seen her this year in
Yeah.
24, where she made a character that was more hers. It was very the way I saw it, inspiration. I don't know. I'm going to talk to her soon about it, but I'm hoping for me, the inspiration that I saw out of it was Jennifer's Body, which was one of those horror movies that, you had the very, popular, pretty, cheerleader type girl, but had a dark side to her. You know
Cheerleaders,
what I
yeah.
mean? So it was like to see that
That
kind
was
of,
literally her. It was so perfect.
yeah, to see that kind of, to see her take on it, where she was this kind of cheerleader facade, but inside she was hiding a dark secret that she'll reveal to you if, and which was most of the time anyone talked to her,
Hmm.
you got the dark side, which I thought was perfect for her character. Very big transformation from what you see. So that's the kind of things I like to see year after year is to see how big those transformations go, who comes back, who creates something new. And she's a perfect example of that. Um, and especially debuting characters to see how they evolve in the next year, especially,
Yeah.
talking with you, you have already ideas in your head for how you want to evolve 2.0, and that's crazy to say because actually
Mm-hmm.
technically it would be a 3.0 because you already had an original concept.
Yeah.
Trivia night
At
threw that
original,
concept away.
yeah.
And
Literally, it was just boom, character, push, improv, change. Yeah. But yeah, Christine, going back to talking about Christine, she was so fun to work with. We would do buffet together. So that was mostly when we would run together.
yeah.
And so we made this like thing of just like her being my sister and I was the brother. And she kept saying like, "Oh, I'm like pretty or something," and I'm just like, you can't see. Stop lying to yourself or something like that. Because she would wear those like blinding contacts. But yeah, I loved Christine. Amazing.
Yeah, man. Obviously we had her in the beginning of the takeover, but you had Lulu, who I thought was
Lulu,
terrific as the
also
nerd clown.
everyone. Yeah,
And just to see the giant
her
pencil
bits,
and her bits, everything, the giant
her
baby.
waving the pencil around.
Yeah,
The baby head.
so great. Just so genius. Stunt man, a luchador.
Oh man,
You have
luchador,
the referee, freaking retro and
bearded
Oingo,
lady,
bearded
disco clown,
lady. You
everyone.
know, um, for who a lot of people said looked like a member of the Insane Clown Posse. Uh, you had that clown as well, like the little kind of rap
Yeah,
clown, which I thought was hilarious. There was just again, I think I can name more characters this season than I have of any other season of CarnEVil,
yeah,
and it's just it's insane. Whether you know their names or not, you know the description of, oh, he's supposed to be a stuntman. Oh, he's supposed to be like a hip
yep,
hop artist. Like I get it all. Like this was the first year I can separate everyone and be like, oh wow, and this is how I was fortunate enough to organize it was based upon, oh, so not everyone's playing the same kind of generic clown. I can kind of find them. You know what I mean? And shout out to everyone who
yeah,
has been in CarnEVil in the past and stuff because they have made it work for themselves every single years. But this
yep.
year, man, they really stepped it up, and you were very lucky to be a part of the 50. Why do I keep saying this to a lot of people? But I felt like 51 was a little bit more better than 50, but that's just my opinion. Yeah,
It's because one of the main zones got that reboot. That's why I feel like they
that's
should have
it,
done that for
bro.
the 50th.
Yeah,
If they did it for the
100%.
50th, it would have been amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Did you yourself? Obviously, you talked about being a fan for a while of Scary Farm. Have you been anywhere else as far as haunt wise goes? Did you go to Horror Nights? Did you get to
Yes.
experience Queen
I went
Mary?
to yeah, I went to Hornets for the first time last year. I went this year again. I just they always I love the IPs, but they have a lot of black rooms. It's fun to go just for that one time, but I don't enjoy it as much. I went to Fright Fest for the first time as well last this year on their last night. Really fun. Their mazes are actually really cool. Less black
Oh,
walls than, than Horror Nights.
okay.
And but yeah, Fright Fest, it was fun. Their slider show was amazing. I love the choreography and everything. Knots needs to work on that. They
I gotta
definitely
give a
like
big shout out to Six
I
Flags,
heard their
man.
slider show.
Dude, Six Flags is I think on street talent and their talent overall and their makeup department just incredible over there. So
Exactly. And I don't know if this is true. Don't quote me on it, but I heard that they also give them slider gear, like they supply it. That's something that I heard and I was like, "What? There is no way."
I think they do. I'm not 100% sure, but I think they were contracted with
Yeah.
somebody, but not 100% on that. I'd have to ask some people. But that if they
Yeah.
do, that is cool for a lot of people. Can't
Yeah.
afford
It
it too
helps a
and
lot
stuff.
too.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And yeah, so Fright Fest was the first time. I still want to go to Hollow Scream. I want to see where Audrey started off. Lulu.
Me too. I need to get out there eventually. It's the drive to San Diego is all that's stopping me.
It's far. It's almost the same as the Six Flags,
It's like a,
right?
t- it's like
Yeah.
it's like a 2.5 hour drive to get out to San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Nah,
mission.
it's so far.
It's a mission.
But I definitely do want to visit that.
Yeah.
But honestly, Knott's, it's always been home. It's always fun. And
And that's what I love to
then
hear
never
is like that's the origin usually of where a lot of people, especially that a lot of people that I've interviewed, they live obviously here in SoCal. that's the origin right there. It's
Mhm.
usually Knots. Knots was kind of like I
Yeah.
said, it's the one that started it all. So everyone wants to come check out Knots. Everyone has a story of when they first came, what zone they first fell in love with, what maze they first fell in love with, what they
Yeah.
did when they would keep coming back. They would just sit in the zones. Like I love hearing you guys talk about that because it just showed you guys are all fans of this and now you're contributing to this. And the fan in you is
Yeah.
like that must be cool. It's like you must be
It's geeking out. It's
fanboying every
crazy. Yeah.
night. Yeah.
Just like seeing all the people that I used to fan about, biggest fanboy to death. Like it was so it felt unreal. Like that I would talk to him, and that he would just talk to me back, and I'm just like, no, I was a fan. Like I would put him on this pedestal, and like yeah, no, I was a big fan. Kept making fun of him as my character. The guy from Fortnite. He- One time he actually scared the crap out of me during a buffet because I yelled like skull trooper, and then I ducked down, crawled around the desk. He lost me, but then he saw my helmet because it's so big. He saw my helmet and just came up from behind, and I like shaked. Someone, I think April Abbey, is that her Instagram? She got that video of me just like in fear.
Oh man.
But yeah, definitely like the fan in me is just it's geeking out. And then I worked with uh Gecko and Otis, GTS Gecko and Otis during a little side event for like a panel they were having. It was me, Christine, Gecko, Otis, the Witch, and Conductor, and Boogeyman
Nice.
from Eight Fingers Nine. Yeah, they had us all out there. Just it was like another buffet, but they were a boring crowd. They did not want to be there.
Funnest, huh?
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know if you want to come to my table because then I'm gonna try to just keep feeding you guys. And be like, you want some? They're like, we can't take it, but if you give it to us, that's a whole different story.
Yeah, I mean, if you just slide it over, maybe if it falls on the floor,
I happen to
I
just
ate so
catch it.
yeah, I ate popcorn and French fries off the floor. I'm surprised I didn't get sick.
Oh my god! I
When
gotta
I'm in
tell you.
character, it just pushes like these things I would never do. I was like, why would I do that?
Oh, it's not just you, bud. I pre-COVID days, like I saw some of the fucking nastiest and god awful shit, which I think that's why a lot of us are immune to, getting over sickness fast because we've literally
Yeah,
done it all, seen it all. But yeah, I've seen some stuff where I'm just like, in the new COVID days that we're in now, I don't think, yeah, I don't think a lot of people would be doing that. But there's some people that
no.
still push the boundaries, and I'm like, hey, cheers to you,
Yeah,
man. I
I
like
will
it.
say Toe Jam's favorite snack, bubbles. There was the bubble machine that like would turn on with the lantern, and I
Yep.
was just like standing there. It was at the exit of Hang Time, the shop at Hang Time, and I'm just like, nom.
You taste a little
And
residue
then
as you drink every drop.
yeah, and then I actually taste it. And then I would just spawn camp that door as well. And then there was like that on that doorway, there's this metal like platform. Since Ghost Town has their giant like metal piece by the tater tots area that you
Yeah.
stomp on, it's just loud as hell. I'm
Yeah.
like, we need one. And I found out that that thing is loose. So when I would stomp on my skates, it was really loud. I
Oh,
always scare the people in the shop. Yeah.
man. I'm so glad to see that not only for your first year you got to be in CarnEVil. That is just incredible news right there, especially
Yeah.
coming in
Dream Zone for sure too.
Dream Zone, 18 years old, in CarnEVil. I that is unreal, man. That is like that's like signing a freaking college prospect to the NBA as a rookie that quick with the fucking Los Angeles
Honestly.
Lakers. Like that's what just happened to you right there. Um, but I think that's awesome, dude. And to see how much fun you had, because not only am I hearing stories that I'm hearing, but to witness it in person this season, to just stand there for a few days, and we were even there on the last night, on the final hour, the final minutes of that zone, just to see everyone surrounded and
I
just kind
was
of that whole
crying. I was bawling.
man. I mean that, and I think that same weekend, the infamous photo of you guys on Hang Time by Dented is
Yeah.
just such an iconic. I mean, I personally, I'm gonna hit Dented up for that. I actually might want to blow that up and make that into like a picture for like a future like front room picture or something like that. Because that picture to me, that's what
Yeah.
defines haunt, in my opinion. To me, I see more than just a picture of you guys on a roller coaster. That's like literally all the community on this roller coaster that we call the world, and we're here for the ride.
Yep.
It comes every now and then, but we always have these memories to cherish it year round. So it's like, I don't know, man. You guys were something special this season, something super special, and I don't know if you can replicate that or not this year, but I know for the fact that 2024 will always be one of my favorite years of CarnEVil for sure. Um, and to see how that's going to be replicated next year or trans transitioned next year differently, with new characters, returning characters. I'm excited. It's always the excitement to see who's going to interact with who's coming out as who, and what is different
Yeah.
about the characters that you've seen in the past, know and love. Um, for those who um, are coming at this much like you did last year, brand new fans, kind of nervous maybe to go in. What's some advice you can give them for like auditioning and just kind of overall the confidence level that they can be at as far as going into this like for the entire run? What's some advice you'd give a new rookie?
Auditions, I would say, okay, if you really, I would say if you want a streets area, like a street zone, pitch a character. That will be your best bet from what I've noticed. Because I had the roller skating clown pitched back in April. My friend Alina gave me like the thing, and so that I get sent that in. And so yeah, during auditions, I was a nervous wreck. But I mean, everyone's there doing the same thing. You just got to go crazy. I don't want to revert back to what I did in auditions, but I'm gonna have to do it again for this year. It's something that just I'm gonna push away in the corner of my mind because I was like, that is not what I like. I never saw myself doing that. So auditions, it's just I would recommend pitching a character. They told us like just pick a monster that you want to do for the first time. So I picked a clown just so I can better my chances for CarnEVil. And then they had us do a second monster, and I was just like, okay, like I did like a zombie type of deal. And originally I was supposed to be in what's it called? Bloodline. They gave me Bloodline that first audition, yeah. And I was like, please tell me I can get Mesmer. So I was like, is there any way I can get Mesmer? And they said, give us a second, go back to your number. I went back to my number. So it also like just asking questions will also help with your chances and you want what you want. So if you want a maze, I wasn't gonna say like, oh, is there a spot I can get into CarnEVil? No, because I know they're much more strict on street zones. So I did ask to see if I can get a maze that I did want because I circus again, clown. They gave me the possessed clown in that last like red room for what's it called? For Mesmer. And then so that's what I got in my auditions. And so yeah, I would just say like that would asking questions, pitching a character, and just using the anxious, the anxiety, and just everything to like put it into a monster that you want to do. That will help you get what you want. But yeah.
And if you don't believe him, I mean, all you got to do is just look at his resume from year one of him scaring on CarnEVil as a rookie
Yeah.
on his first year. I mean, that's right there. I mean, and to all those, I mean, another thing I'll add is because I see a lot of it sometimes in the community, and you know, some people have this mindset, but it's just better if you don't. I mean, whatever you get at Haunt, go with it. Have fun with it. Make it yours. Make it
Yeah.
memorable. Make it just a fun time. There are times where I see like spots and mazes where I'm like, shit, man, I can work this room really well. Like I would love to play in this maze for for a night or something. But yeah, just have fun when you're out there. I think
Mm-hmm.
it only comes for 2 months, and after that, it's gone for another year. So
Yeah.
enjoy it
Sadly
while we
so.
have it. Yeah, for real. Enjoy it while we have it. Because it is January and we're still talking about haunt season 2024, now going into 2025.
Yep.
So, yeah, that shows you enough a lot of that. Now, I think I already. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, we're good. We're good. I
Oh,
swiped over and like the screen just disappeared. I was like, what the hell? Um, I think we kind of already answered this question in the beginning, but I still need to ask it, and I think I already know the answer for it. But then I'm going to ask you a follow up because there is a few of them. what is your favorite horror movie? And I
Yeah.
think we already
Okay. Yeah, I did
answered it in the
answer that
beginning.
with
Now,
chapter 1 and chapter 2, the newer ones.
chapter 1, chapter 2, the newer ones, but which out of the two do you like the more? Like, which one do you think is better out of the two? I know it's one long story, but one of them was the kids,
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
them
yeah.
was the adults. So which one do you like better out of the two? Now that's the hard one.
I think the kids, just because I know for a fact these kids were scared in that movie. They, with what they did of like how they would hide, like Bill Skarsgård, Pennywise, they would hide Pennywise's face from the kids until that one scene with the projector. And so I'm just like, I think that one had more raw emotion in it. So I think the first one.
Oh man, first one is a classic. I'm also a huge fan of the original one with Tim Curry. I think Tim Curry's adaptation of Pennywise is hilarious, also very terrifying. But he's got its moments of where he's just saying these jokes, and I'm just like, this guy is literally he's about to murder these kids, and he's fucking popping off jokes. This is
Yeah.
hilarious. Yeah, my girlfriend, huge fan of Pennywise, huge fan of it. She got a lot of it related goods this past Christmas, so um, yeah, I am a huge fan of Stephen King in general, but yeah, I think it for me traumatized me taking showers for a long time. If you've ever seen the original one,
Oh yeah.
when he comes out of the drain in the original one and fucks
Yep.
with the kid in the shower, like that right there fucked with me forever taking showers as a kid. Because I kept thinking the same thing was gonna happen. Like I'm like Pennywise is gonna
That's
come
why
up the
don't
drain.
open your eyes with the shampoo. Don't
Yeah,
open your eyes.
just don't open my eyes. Period. Like that's it. That and rainstorm drains, sewer drains. I mean, I think anyone can relate to that one too. The sewer drains on a rainy day. It's the first thing you think
Yeah,
about. It's like, yeah,
it is.
it's a good film right there, man. Stephen King in general is great. If you ever get a chance and you're ever out in Las Vegas, they have a It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 escape room, and it's like a good hour experience on both of them, and it is well worth the money, dude. Me and my girlfriend have done both of them, and it is. If you love those movies, like the newer ones, there are so many puzzles and Easter eggs that you'll see in this movie. They replicate a lot of scenes, and it's like massive structures and actual
Wait,
scenes
where
and
at again?
in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely take note of that.
Yeah, dude, it's a good one, and they have a deal where you can do like both of them. So you do one at one time slot, and then you do the other at another time slot. Um, but they have that one. They have a Saw one. They have a Blair Witch one. Um, we've done the Saw and the It one. We haven't done the Blair Witch one, but we're gonna try that one soon. But yeah,
The
dude,
Saw
I
movies
think
are also really good.
yeah, that Saw one was sick because at the end, like you're in the actual bathroom from the first Saw, and I was like just looking at all the attention to detail. I was like, this is fucking sick, man. Like this looks like I'm in the
Dang.
movie, you know? Um, oh, there goes my camera. Gotta love that. Gotta love the technical difficulties off working on a laptop, you know? Um, Nate, for those I don't know if I mean I think we kind of talked a little bit about this too, but do you have any social medias that people can follow you on for like at least your character stuff, or are you just kind of your own thing?
Just my own thing, my personal. I've thought about making a character one, but it's like I'm not gonna be active. I don't post so much on my actual like feed that
Yeah.
it's like all my stories.
It's all good.
Um, did you want me to like shout it out?
If you want to, I mean, that's completely up to
Yeah.
you. You don't have to. Like, if you don't feel comfortable, I get it. Like, you don't have to
Oh,
though.
yeah, it's
Unless
fine.
you want to.
It's Nate dot underscore dot 355.
There
That's
you
where
go.
you'll like see a lot of the stuff I'm doing. Like recently with I did one look with the airbrush and holy crap, it was
I seen that.
horrendous.
It actually looked pretty sick.
the,
It looked pretty sick.
the line work was some needed some work, but hey, I'm just
Hey,
gonna
a good
practice,
start.
practice. Thank you.
I think for me, like I know a lot of people will they'll know the little details of like, oh, that line is a little crooked. Like, but if you're someone that's just like me and doesn't really like know what to pay attention for, and I'm just kind of looking at the picture real quick, I'm like, oh, that looks really sick. Like, yeah, he did a good job on that.
Yeah.
But then like, yeah, as the artist or as like the person, as you start looking at it more and more, you start noticing all the details, and it's just like, oh, okay, like I see where he messed up. You know what I mean? But for me, when I first saw that picture, I was
Yeah.
like, "That looks sick. The colors look sick. I think that would look sick in a black light, like all that fun stuff."
Yeah. It was definitely a challenge. I'm like, I don't understand how, again, these makeup artists do these looks in 20
Yeah.
minutes. That took me like an hour and a half.
It's
And
like
it's
you
just
said,
some
it's
basic
just
2D look.
not only is it just practice and repetition for them, but like you got to imagine they're probably practicing on other things that are like, they probably got little mannequin heads they practice on just to kind of get fast and get it
Yeah.
down. And then once they keep doing, I mean, I know for some artists they would actually change up some makeups every now and then. So that impresses me too. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, the fact that they could do it in 20 minutes, man, God bless. That's why we have them.
Yeah.
um Nate, I want to thank you again for the time, and I appreciate you being a part of the CarnEVIL Takeover this month. You were honestly
Of
a very
course.
memorable character. My girlfriend has said a lot of high things about you. Like she was a huge fan of your character this year, and I was a huge fan of your character. So I knew when we put together this month, you were a no-brainer. I had to get you on. I had to get inside your head a little bit to see what it took to bring out that character. And it seems like you had a lot of fun from being a fan to now being a part of the experience. And hopefully in 2025, we could see you return. Hopefully you get to come back and be
Yep.
part of the CarnEVIL family again. I think you were a very big standout character, and they would be fools to not have you. It's just no questions asked. If I'm casting the
Yeah.
zone the minute you walk in, I'm like CarnEVIL. Simple as that. But I appreciate you, man, and thank you for everything you've done this season. And again, we're just grateful and very happy to see what CarnEVIL became for 2024, and you guys did an incredible job
Yeah.
with that.
Just by praying they give us a little more gruesome stuff. They let us get more gory, more aggressive.
That'd be great. That'd be fun. There's a lot I could see happening with that, but if nothing else more, I have been your host for this episode of the podcast. My name is Anthony. You are watching the Nights of Horror. We are in full swing of CarnEVIL Takeover, so tune in next Wednesday for another episode featuring Stuntman himself. That's going to be a fun episode of film.
Woo!
Can't wait for that one. It's going to be a good one. And next Wednesday after the podcast is over, we're going to give you a exclusive announcement of our next takeover for February. There's a little hint right here.
Oh.
We may be hitting the seas. That's all I'm going to say at that.
Ooh.
Until
Ooh.
then, we'll see you next week for that announcement. We'll see you next week for another CarnEVIL Takeover. And we'll see you next time right here on the Mindless Horror Podcast. Stay spooky.